Big Ten Power Rankings right here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media. Not everyone knows that we're here talking college football with you every day. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Let's get to it. Big Ten Power Rankings in the 14th spot. Guess who? They've locked it down ever since they started losing some football games. I joke every week that Northwestern would have been the #1 power-rated team in the Big Ten in August. They beat Nebraska ever since, 6 straight downhill. Started a new quarterback this past week against Maryland. Brendan Sullivan, 18 of 24, touchdown, 2 picks. Evan Hall with 119 yards rushing, and Northwestern actually turned in its best game since that win against the Huskers. They almost beat Maryland and lose late 31-24. They go to Iowa coming up now, and who knows? With that Iowa offense, Northwestern's got a shot on the road. Indiana's at number 13. 5 consecutive losses for the Hoosiers. This one was painful. They went up 14-0 early in the game against Rutgers on a Jalen Lucas kickoff return touchdown on the opening kickoff, then a 91-yard scoring drive, then all downhill for Indiana from there. They lose to Rutgers. That's going to plummet you in the Big Ten rankings down to number 13. At number 12, the aforementioned Scarlet Knights finally win a Big Ten game under Greg Schiano here, 24-17. Down 14-0. Samuel Brown with 101 yards rushing. Rutgers, my stat of the day. They held the ball against Indiana for all but 53 seconds of the third quarter. Scarlet Knights move on to 1-3 in the Big Ten. They've got a date at Minnesota. At number 11 in the Big Ten rankings, we've got Iowa. Arguably the best defense in the conference, definitely the worst offense in the conference. 54-10 losers to Ohio State. But can you believe it was closer than the final score would indicate? Yeah, the defense played well, held the Buckeyes in the red zone throughout the first half, and then, of course, the dam broke, and that was it. Spencer Petras got benched. Alex Padilla came in, and he was just as bad. Now, Kirk Ferentz has a decision to make. He has said that that evaluation would be made this week. The 2 quarterbacks lead Iowa against Northwestern coming up this weekend. At number 10, how about the resurgent Wisconsin Badgers under Jim Leonhard? They beat Northwestern a couple weeks ago, fell to Michigan State in double OT. Then, the shocker of the week in the Big Ten, defeating Purdue and just burying the Boilermakers 28-3 at one point, jumped up 21-0. Braylon Allen with a $113 on the ground. Graham Mertz had an efficient day, and the Badger defense, back in form, picked off Aiden O'Connell 3 times. Wisconsin's defense leads college football with 14 interceptions. Wisconsin's got a bye week at 4-4. Our number 9 team in the Big Ten, Michigan State. Mel Tucker, 2-0 against Michigan, goes to the Big House to take on Jim Harbaugh and company. Of course, Sparty got off the deck 2 weeks ago against Wisconsin in a double OT game against the Badgers. Michigan State tries to make it two in a row in the Big Ten, taking on Michigan this week. On to the number 8 position in Minnesota. The Golden Gophers started the season at 4-0. They look like the most complete team in the Big Ten Western Division. Have lost now 3 consecutive games. Went down by 4 touchdowns against Penn State. Tanner Morgan, of course, their longtime starting quarterback with 40 starts, has been out. And Ethan Alkmanis was the starter against Penn State, only 9 of 22. The defense, usually sound for the Gophers, trounced by the Penn State running game and passing game. And Minnesota now takes on Rutgers, trying to snap that 3-game losing streak. At number 7 in the Big Ten, we go to Nebraska, and the Huskers coming off a loss to Purdue 2 weeks ago, in which Trey Palmer went off for 237 yards receiving. Of course, the defense has been deplorable for the Huskers. And Mickey Joseph vying for the full-time gig at Nebraska, looking to get to a bowl game. The Huskers are 3-4 with Illinois coming to town. Maryland at number 6 just avoided a embarrassing upset loss to Northwestern at home last weekend. Billy Edwards gets the start at quarterback in place of Talia Tagovailoa, who is injured. Edwards went 18 of 28. Roman Hemby, Maryland star running back, raced 75 yards for the game-winning touchdown with 3.5 minutes left to avoid the upset. Maryland's got the week off at 6-2 overall. To the top 5 in our Big Ten Power Rankings right here at the Voice of College Football. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Purdue, yes, they did not look like the fifth best team in the conference this past weekend. They looked awful, deplorable, terrible against Wisconsin after winning 4 consecutive games. So let's not let recency bias cloud our judgment here. Purdue has an impressive resume, certainly better than the 3 teams below them, whom they've defeated, all of them, Maryland, Nebraska, and Minnesota. And they have close losses against Syracuse and against Penn State, but not a close loss at Camp Randall Stadium. Aiden O'Connell threw 3 picks. Purdue went down 28-3. They get blown out. They need to bounce back, and they've got a bye week to help them regroup. Now to the top 4 in the Big Ten. We made a switcheroo here with Illinois in the 3 spot last week. They had a bye week. They're preparing for the date at Nebraska. I jumped Penn State to number 3. We'll explain. The Illini, 6-1, 3-1 in the Big Ten. Their lone loss to Indiana, who continues to plummet down the Big Ten rankings. Talk about rankings. Number 1 rated defense in the nation at Illinois. And, of course, Chase Brown leads the nation in total rushing yardage. This is the number 2 group in the entire nation in interceptions as well, with 12. Illinois at number 4 in our power rankings and a date against Nebraska. At number 3, Penn State. Dominant performance against Minnesota, especially in the second half, with 4 consecutive touchdown drives against a solid defense. Sean Clifford was sharp, 23 of 31, 295 through the air, 4 touchdowns, and the Penn State ground game came to life against Minnesota, and they're going to need all of that and more as they take on Ohio State in Happy Valley coming up this weekend. All right, our top 2, and previewing next week's Big Ten Power Rankings, I got to think that the game in Happy Valley and then, of course, the game at the Big House are going to determine who truly, down the stretch drive, is the number 1 team in the Big Ten, because we can compare, after this Saturday, Ohio State's performances against both Michigan State and Penn State, and also Michigan against Penn State and Michigan State. But for right now, the more dominant of the teams will be number 1. So Michigan is the number 2 team in the Big Ten right now. All cylinders working. J.J. McCarthy, an efficient, effective quarterback. They have yet to really need him to explode, be dynamic. Of course, Blake Corum is a Heisman Trophy candidate, and the offensive line may be the best in college football. The pass rush has been fierce on defense, and Michigan is playing sound, really good football. Now they got to beat Mel Tucker on a 3rd try at the Big House on Saturday. And the number 1 team in the Big Ten right now is Ohio State, dominating against everyone, including the Iowa Hawkeyes. Yes, the defense looked really good against a deplorable, horrible, awful, worst in the nation Iowa offense. But again, the Ohio State defense is much improved under Jim Knowles. One concern here, Iowa did load the box, but the Buckeyes could not run the ball against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Mayan Williams, 10 carries for 19 yards. Travion Henderson, 11 for 38. The Buckeyes, with an anemic ground attack against Iowa, now take that on the road against Penn State. Well, Penn State gave up 400 plus on the ground to Michigan. Ohio State, now at 7-0, taking on Penn State this weekend, our number 1 team in the Big Ten. So, here are the Big Ten Power Rankings, 1 through 14. Ohio State, number 1, Michigan 2, Penn State 3, Illinois 4, then a drop to Purdue, Maryland, Nebraska, Minnesota at 8, Michigan State 9, Wisconsin 10, Iowa's number 11, and then a drop to Rutgers, Indiana, and Northwestern. Big Ten Power Rankings. Would love to hear your comments. Bring them down below right here at the Voice of College Football.